Hey, Anthony,
Yeah.
did the Supreme Court just allow Trump to withhold SNAP benefits?
Yes, but also no. What's basically going on is that after the previous ruling by two federal judges that the USDA has to release funds from a emergency contingency account in order to fund SNAP benefits in November, the Trump administration, which does not want to pay those SNAP benefits, has asked the higher courts for an emergency stay on that order so that they can fight the order in court, essentially. They first asked the First Circuit Court of Appeals, which was the next highest court up. The First Circuit Court of Appeals declined the emergency stay, although they said they would be looking at the case itself. And after the First Circuit Court declined it, the Trump administration filed an emergency appeal with the Supreme Court for another emergency stay, basically. The Supreme Court has granted that, but that doesn't quite mean what I think a lot of people think it means. So what happened is that Justice Jackson, who is a liberal justice, has granted the stay, but she's granted it in order to pass the case back to the First Circuit Court, which can probably resolve it faster and with a better resolution than the Supreme Court can. This was a decision that was handled solely by Jackson because she's currently the one in charge of handling these emergency decisions. And by passing it back to the First Circuit Court, they can not only rule faster than the Supreme Court, but also probably put out a better ruling. The First Circuit Court is very liberal, although the judges were appointed by Obama and Biden. The fact that they declined the administrative hold on their side means that they would likely rule in favor of releasing the funds in the first place, where the Supreme Court may not do that. So while yes, the Supreme Court technically granted what the Trump administration wants, I think that in the long run this will play out better for the American people. And she did mention in her ruling that she expects the First Circuit Court of Appeals to finish whatever ruling they're going to pass on this case with haste, presumably so that people can get funded for the SNAP benefits.
What does this mean for the government shutdown?
Nothing immediately, but it does mean that the pressure is still on for the Republicans to end the shutdown and all of the effects that it's having on people, right? They're still trying to pretend like it's the Democrats' fault that the shutdown is happening. But I think the fact that the Trump administration is so eager to withhold these SNAP benefits in the first place, although there is money specifically set aside to fund SNAP in the event of a shutdown, shows how the Republicans are trying to weaponize this shutdown against the American people, right? The Democrats have agreed multiple times to end the shutdown if the Republicans will simply extend Biden-era healthcare subsidies by 1 year so that people can't afford healthcare. And the Republicans are trying to use literally starvation of the American people against the Democrats in order to get them to cave. They want people to be hungry, to starve, so that they're angry, so that they either turn that blame on Democrats or perhaps so that they riot so that the Trump administration can use the Insurrection Act to invoke martial law in the United States. And, I think it's important